So, I hate the education system, and I'm not really talking about it, especially not to my teachers and people around me as much. And so it was something that was building up inside of me. And recently there was an interesting experience which happened to me in school, and it made me blow up. I got so pissed that I skipped one lesson, which isn't actually so horrible, but it's not something I usually do. And we were supposed to write the test and so on. And the point of this video is something that might not be what you will expect, but I will mention it a bit later. First of all, I want to describe what happened to me actually today. And so it was a beautiful sunny day, absolutely wonderful day, but I couldn't have known that because the sun hadn't risen yet. And so I did my deep work. It wasn't ideal because I was super tired because I didn't sleep well. I was waking up throughout the night for some reason. It was actually somewhat noisy outside, so that might also be the reason. But that doesn't matter, I did my work, even though it wasn't ideal, as I mentioned. Then I prepared my breakfast. I also butchered meat for our lunch. And after that, I started packing for school. Of course, it's shortened, it's not how it actually went, but I wanted to explain it briefly. So I packed my stuff and went outside. When I got to school, I was already feeling the shivers because I hate being there. But when I got into the classroom and everything was going fine, and the lesson started, the teacher came. Actually, the first lesson was somewhat alright. Then I had my second lesson, and that's when the experience happened. It's not somewhat connected to the teacher or the subject itself, but it helped build the momentum for that experience to actually happen. And so it was actually biology. It's like a seminar which I have, and so I was sitting there. The teacher was handing the tests which we wrote, and as she was handing out those tests, she leaned closer to one of the classmates sitting right in front of me, and she asked a simple question, somewhat like you could say she was worrying or she was worried about her, and she asked her why she got that sort of mark, because she got a bit worse mark than usual. And I instantly started to feel a bit annoyed by that for some reason. Actually, I know why, and I will explain why a bit later. And I knew instantly that she would do the same thing with me, because I knew that I got bad mark as well. And as she was getting closer, she handed the tests to classmates near me, and then she got to me. She handed me the test, and she did the same thing. She leaned a bit closer to me and asked me why I got that sort of mark. And it was enough to make me so annoyed, so pissed, that I started wondering why am I even sitting there. I am studying something that's not my purpose, that's not connected to my purpose in any sort of way, almost. I mean, I can use that information, of course, but the way we are being taught, it's just useless. And so I started to be annoyed. I am sitting there in the classroom without even being able to go outside, because if I go, I will get into trouble. And so I can't do that. It's somewhat like a prison. And I am sitting there. I replied in a bit annoyed way, but she ignored that. And I was still wondering, why is this happening to me? Why do I have to sit there? And something struck me. I realized that it's my own fault. It was my own decision that I don't want to pursue the same path that the other people sitting around me. I knew that I wanted to do something different. I knew that I wanted to build something, build a movement, build a business, and make money that way, and not go out there and work in some sort of a stupid job that I hate or that I would hate. I knew that. And I'm still sitting there, knowing that it's not something I will use in the future. I am sitting there knowing that the information that I'm getting is only information that I will use on the university that's going to start actually next year. If I am not going to pursue that path, then the university is completely useless to me. And so I am sitting there knowing that I'm learning, or not even learning, I'm just wasting time there, listening to the teacher talking about stuff that I am not going to use. Of course, you can say that biology can be useful, you can use the information there, but we are being taught in a way so that we will be able to be good students, be good slaves in our future jobs in the university, which will come later. And so I knew all that, and it started to piss me because I realized that it's my own fault that I'm sitting there. Because if I were working much harder, I wouldn't need to be there. I wouldn't need to be sitting there listening to the teacher talking about nonsense. That's the main point of this video. You have to realize that even if you are in the same situation, you hate the education system, you have to be sitting there without your own consent because you just have to be there because the system says so. Then you have to know, you have to realize and admit that it's your own fault. You have to admit that you deserve the consequences of your own actions. And so if I were working much harder and if I would have already built a business and I would be making money, then there would be no reason for me to be sitting there. And I hope that you will take this lesson to your heart and make it a brain tattoo and remember it forever, that you deserve the consequences of your actions. And if you are going through a similar situation, just remember that you can change the situation that you are in because you are the one who caused that situation. And so if this video was valuable, which I hope so, then you can comment something down below to boost the algorithm. That way you can meet other people who are like-minded. And if you are interested, you can watch this video next.